gauge both. So I'm excited about today's topic though, because um, I am jumping and diving in for our design discussion this month into furniture. So if you see me looking at two different cameras, it's because I'm trying to do um, both Instagram and YouTube at the same time. So bear with me on that. It's my first time trying to do that. But today we're going to jump in and talk about furniture. And this month on Wednesdays, we'll be discussing furniture and kind of going into a what I would call it a furniture checklist, or if you would call it a shopping list for furniture. Most people that I find or interact with typically are only thinking about the aesthetics of furniture. And so I come in contact with this all the time. And aesthetics are really important. I'm not going to deny that. They're valuable. It's something we need to look into for as far as furniture. But we also need to not neglect the fact that there are other pieces or items on our checklist that should be there. So today we're going to target the first item that I deem is really important and important to stress and really think about when you're purchasing furniture. And this could be furniture for your home, furniture for your office, furniture for if you're a small business owner, your boutique or retail storefront, because furniture affects our lives in more ways than we think. The aesthetics are the things that we come in contact with and are really the things that we see first because it's directed towards our eyesight. But we also really need to think about some other things. So I've listed the full list on my website, which is www.desired-designs.com. But today we're just going to target the first item on the checklist that is really important to think about. So for those of you who are, everyone's always shopping for furniture, for whether it's for their home or something else. But the important thing to know is you really have to be equipped and do your research. And most people do their research and due diligence when looking into furniture. They just don't know what to be looking for, other than like, I like the way it looks. I like that it's comfortable. I like that it fits for my space. If you're working with a designer or you're working with a salesperson, they're going to ask you about your space and how it looks and how it works. So it's really important for you to be equipped and feel like you are going into this knowledgeable. So the first thing that we're going to discuss and talk about today are the ingredients of your furniture. Do you know the ingredients of your furniture? And most people that I know, don't just go buying things off the shelf to eat without fully knowing what's in it. Even if you know that it's not the best for you, like, I like Snickers, right? Even though I know everything in it is not great for me, I still know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I'm ingesting and I know what I'm getting into. The same is true for your furniture, because it affects your life in a very similar fashion as the things that you eat and the things that you consume. So people don't typically realize that or know that, but this is something that really does affect how you function in the space that you're living, working, or playing in. And so knowing the ingredients of your furniture is going to help you and equip you better to understand whether or not it's contributing to your health or it is contributing to potential physical illness based off what's happening. So there's some major materials. Knowing your raw materials is important, and also kind of knowing the construction or production process of furniture. And so we're going to talk about production a little bit more next week in like the manufacturing process. But this week, we're going to talk about raw materials and how some of these things can contribute to your wellness or contribute to potentially physical harm, or, not physical harm, but could contribute to potential illnesses down the line that you don't know about and that are just kind of a byproduct of the furniture that you purchase. So one of the main materials that are used in all types of furniture, upholstered furniture, which means a furniture that has fabric on it, and even furniture that does not, is wood. Knowing a lot about wood is important, where the wood comes from, how it's produced, where it's coming from, are all things that contribute to the health or overall makeup of your furniture. So knowing where wood comes from in the term of where it's forested. So in the design world, there is a term that we call sourcing. So where is the material sourced from in order to make your furniture piece, your particular furniture piece? So there is a really a certified body that determines whether or not wood is actually being produced in a or responsibly managed, and that is called the FSC, which stands for the Forest Stewardship Council. And a lot of times you will see that FSC label on tags for furniture or wood, knowing that the wood components in this particular piece is forested in a responsible way, which means that, the company wasn't just going out to whatever forest they chose and chopping down, whatever tree or however they wanted to do it. It was done in a manageable way where they're also planting trees and replenishing and doing it in a way that's going to be the best for the environment. So an FSC label is really important to see, to know that your wood is being sourced in an economically beneficial way. And also knowing where your wood is coming from, whether it's being forested locally or is this something that is happening across the country? Because, as we'll talk about next week, location also matters in your furniture piece. Buying local and sourcing things as local as possible helps your furniture piece because it's not traveling as far, and therefore, picking up traction and having a large carbon footprint, which means, it's using more and more resources, which we'll talk about next week. But knowing these things is really important, and manufacturers have made it easy now where they are starting to, place labels on websites. They're posting this information on tags for the furniture. So this is something that is easier and easier to look for, and manufacturers are being really pushed to make this information transparent to people so that they know what they're buying. Just like, in the food industry, being more and more transparent about what's actually in our food and what we're ingesting. And so you should be thinking and looking at the same things with your furniture. And I know that people are consuming more and more furniture, especially now with the pandemic and everyone being home. But one of the main things you kind of have to ask yourself, after you've seen that you like the aesthetic or you see how you like that it looks, how is this actually going to contribute to my health in my home or my office, because I spend a lot of time there. Another main thing with especially woods is like staining, and we'll get into staining, and when we get into cabinetry and a lot of different furniture pieces, the glues and adhesives that are used to construct those pieces can often be damaging and very chemically harmful to your body. So the way that those chemicals are then ingested into your body is that they off gas. And so a lot of times with furniture, I have two examples. Most furniture nowadays, other than like wood doors, depending on where you source it from, if it's being mass produced from like companies like, Wayfair, or, manufacturers that are selling through Wayfair or selling through Amazon, depending on what the manufacturer is, a lot of these furniture pieces are made from what we call furniture board. And so I'm going to show you in the camera. It kind of looks like, the typical like particle board, but furniture board is a little bit more sturdy. It has more girth to it. And so when you see that a particular piece, such as like a desk or a bench or, something that's made out of something that looks like wood and has a veneer on it, typically it's going to have an underlayment of this furniture board. And that furniture board is comprised of, wood particles and glues and adhesives that hold that together. And those adhesives are really important to know what's in them, because that off gases into your home. It allows you to really consume, or it to be ingested in your body through breathing, through all of your through your skin, all of that, all of your pores, that kind of thing. So you have to be really conscientious about off gassing, and that typically happens with those kind of adhesives and even stains on woods. So it's really important to know and be familiar with companies that are transparent about, are they using stains that are low VOC, low volatile organic compounds, low fumes. Those are things that you want to know and that are becoming more readily available. And those are questions you should be asking as you're looking into furniture and the furniture process. And when you work with a designer, these are things that they would be able to know and be able to help you to understand about your pieces as well, so that you can come to the table as a consumer, more knowledgeable about what is happening and what you're purchasing. Because a lot of times furniture are big purchases for people. So you want to make sure that you're not buying something that's going to cause damage to you in your home. So it's really important that you look into that and are aware are the chemicals that are in this. Formaldehyde is one that is really well known as that's part of adhesives. Formaldehyde can off gas and really add to physical illness to people that are in the space. So it's really important to just be aware of that. And as a person who works with clients every day, I try my best to really educate my clients on what they are purchasing and what questions they should be asking, and giving them the information they need in order to make informed decisions for themselves. So it's a great way to create a checklist for the furniture buying process. Just like, you have in your mind what you're looking for when you go to the grocery store, you should have in mind what you're looking for when you're purchasing furniture as well. So we have that full list on our website, www.desired-designs.com. It's under our design discussions website, and our blog. We put something up every month, and so you can go check that out. But each Wednesday we're going to be talking a little bit more and more about furniture and what's on that checklist and what those bullet points and items really mean. So the next major thing is upholstery and fabrics. So a lot of times with some of the protectants and topical coats that they put on fabric to make them waterproof or more durable, or things that are going to help you to be able to treat and maintain the fabric, sometimes those chemicals can off gas as well. So you have to be very aware as to what is going into the fabric. What is it made of? Is it a natural fabric, such as a cotton, a linen, a wool, or is it a synthetic fabric, such as a polyester and things like that? So knowing what the makeup of your fabric is and how you're able to maintain it, which we'll talk about later as well, because some of the maintenance processes on certain fabrics also can add to potential chemicals being in your space that are going to negatively affect how you live and breathe and your overall wellness. So it's really important to be aware of that as well. Even in upholstery pieces, the stuffing, what is the stuffing actually made out of? The webbing, the fill. A lot of times there's standard fills that are in your cushions and your pillows. What are those materials made out of that are really something I'm going to be coming in contact with all the time? So you have to be aware and ask those questions so that you are able to feel like what you're getting into. And if you don't know, asking a professional such as a designer will also help so that you can get those answers and make sure you're spending your money on things that you really want. And so this I see this a lot, and this can be really problematic a lot of times when everyone's buying on the internet, but they're not fully informed what they're getting. I like the way it looks. The size says it works, but is it really a good fit for your home? Do you have people in your home who are more prone to breathing issues? So like asthma and things like that. Those chemicals in the air, that off-gassing, can be detrimental to those type of people that are more susceptible to that. So being very conscientious of that is very important. And so one last thing before I wrap up, I think it's really important to make sure when you are purchasing furniture that you're also aware of, in the end, as far as like the longevity of this piece, is it going to stay with me or not? And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the month. But over time, furniture typically will off gas less. So if you buy a piece of furniture that initially had maybe formaldehyde in the glue or things like that, over time it actually off gases less and becomes less of an issue. So cheers up to upcycling, because a lot of times when you go and you're purchasing furniture from an antique place, or you're getting furniture secondhand, that's typically older furniture is going to be a solid wood construction. Those typically are not off gassing as strongly as new, fresh off the press furniture pieces. So it's important to really know the story of your furniture, know where it's coming from, how it's produced, what the contents are. Just equip yourself as a consumer, or even a business owner. If you're buying furniture for your storefront or for your business or for your office, this is something you're going to be interacting with on a daily basis, and you want to make sure it's contributing to your health and not to your illness or a potential illness, or if you're more prone to illness, that it's making you sicker and it's not helping your space to be contributing to your health. And that's really important, because we're in our space, we're indoors or in spaces or inside almost 90% of our lives. We spend very little time outside. And so these contributing factors really add up over time. And so you want to make sure that you can do as much as you can, just like when you go to the grocery store and you purchase something, and you know what you're eating, you want to know what the ingredients of your furniture is as well. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. We will be back here next Wednesday, 6 p.m., talking about the next thing on the checklist, which is production, manufacturing, and location, how that's important to know as far as your furniture pieces, and why a lot of times, custom pieces might be a tad more expensive, but they are typically more local. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that next week, but I'm so glad you were able to join me this week. Thank you. Please share and come back next Wednesday. I love engaging with you guys. And, if you have any questions, being able to answer those questions about furniture pieces. So feel free to visit me on Instagram or Facebook or our website. Instagram is typically where I'm most active and, can answer your questions. And on Wednesday, we typically post about the furniture piece, the topic that we're going to discuss that evening. So if you have questions about the topic, feel free to, put them in my Instagram comments or, direct message me. But I love to really share information that I have with people, and be able to educate my clients and educate other people on really things to be able to look out for, so that you can feel more equipped, when you're shopping as a consumer, that you're getting really what you're paying for, and you're not being greenwashed, as they call it, like putting up the right signs, but in the long term, they're really not what they're, cracked up to be. So this is it for this week, guys. See you next week. I hope you have a great rest of the week. It's almost Friday, so hang in there. Wednesday. I'll see you next week, guys. Thanks.